This video will show you how to replace the outside door handle on a Pontiac Grand Prix. This will be mounted to your front door. Let's get into it. Okay friends, let's get started on our job. Now the first thing I want to mention, we do want to have the window in the upright position so we can gain access to that door handle. Now as we start our job, we're going to have to remove the door panel, so we're starting at the inside door handle area. We have a plastic bezel. The plastic bezel has locking tabs, one along the top and one along the bottom. I'm using a plastic trim tool to dislodge this. Just pry it out there, and pry it out down here. Pull on the handle, slide this out of place. A quick inspection, we can see those locking tabs, and we'll set this aside. And now we'll move down from there to our grab handle. The grab handle has a plastic panel. We're going to remove that. For this, I'm using a small screwdriver as a prying device. As we turn it over, we can see our locking tabs for that as well. With the plastic panel out of the way, there's two circular ports. Inside of each of them, there's a 10mm bolt. I'm just going to use my 1/4-inch drive here. Now, if the bolt is stuck inside of the port, you can use a small magnet as necessary to remove it. There's our first bolt. Let's make our way to the next. Both bolts are the same. You do not need to worry about mixing them up. Now, as we continue the removal process of our door panel, there's some things to think about. We are going to have a wiring harness behind this area that we have to dislodge, so you want to be extremely careful when we do pull the panel away. I'm going to be continuing on with my trim tool. Up along the upper corner, we have this triangular area. We're just carefully separating this. It does not remove from the door panel, but it does need to slide away from the door. There's one locking tab behind here. Now that I have that separated, I'm making my way down along one of the lower corners of the door panel so I can start separating that. We'll be pulling the bottom away and then lifting the door panel out and away from the door, once again being aware of that electrical wiring harness. Now we have our trim tool. We're coming in between the door and the panel, pretty much anywhere down along the bottom. Just go ahead and pull that away. Now with that pulled away, we can lift this up and away from the door. There we are. That exposes our electrical wiring harness. Now as far as this wiring harness, typically it would be attached to this bracket here. As you can tell, ours has become dislodged. That's okay. Either way, we're going to take hold of these two locking tabs where my fingers are. We want to squeeze those together. Then we need to take this and we're going to swing it over. That's going to unlatch this. We'll separate it and remove the door panel completely. Of course, a thorough inspection for corrosion. This looks good. Let's set that door panel aside. With the door panel out of the way, we're going to remove our vapor barrier next. Now this is clear plastic, but as you look along the edges, you can see this black area making its way all the way around. That's the adhesive. It's holding it to the door. It's called butyl tape, and it can be extremely sticky. So just be aware of that. Don't get it on your skin or on your clothing. Just a quick inspection of that, we'll set it aside. Now to remove the door handle, there's going to be some hardware and some rods behind this area. While we're still out here, let's pay attention where our door lock rod is. We're going to dislodge this rubber protective boot. For that, I just have my plastic trim tool. We don't have to fully remove it, just slide it up and out of the way. This is going to be one of the access ports for one piece of hardware. But for now, we're going to make our way inside of the door. We have a couple rods to dislodge first. As we look inside the door, we can see the rod that leads all the way up to our door handle, but we're focusing down at the bottom where it connects to the door latch. I'm going to be using an angled pick. I want to dislodge this, so I'm just making my way along the back side. I'm going to carefully pry out on this locking tab and disconnect this. A quick inspection of the rod, a little bit of rust is okay, but if it looks like it's rotted, obviously you want to replace it. This looks good, so let's continue on. We're making our way up. Now as we follow that rod up towards the door handle, you can see that we have a second rod. This rod should be held in place to our door lock cylinder with a red plastic clip. As you can see on my application, this clip is broken. It's been fixed using a wire tie. So that's how I'll have to reinsert this. Typically for this rod, you want to carefully try to slide it out and away from that red tab. In my application, I'm just going to go ahead and cut that wire tie. I'll just use some cutters for this. Now, as I mentioned, that rod should just slide out of position. Once you do have that separated, we'll continue on. Now, to remove the handle, you're going to find that you have two 10mm mounting bolts. One is accessed through this port here, and then the second will be through this oval port here. There's our first mounting bolt. Now for the next mounting bolt, I want to try not to drop this in the door. Now from the outside of the door, let's take hold of the door handle and remove it from the door. Keep in mind, we do have a lock cylinder and a rod on the backside we have to remove. Now we have our handle on the bench. Let's start by removing the rod. Now this rod, you can see, does have an angle. We're going to pivot it and slide it out of position. A thorough inspection of that rod to confirm it's not damaged in any way. This does look good. We're continuing on to our lock cylinder next. As far as the lock cylinder, if you are looking along the lower aspect of the door handle and the lock cylinder, you're going to find that there's a metal clip. The metal clip needs to be drawn down. It's not going to get fully removed, but once you pull it as far as it can go, lift up the lock cylinder and remove it from the door handle. A thorough inspection of the lock cylinder. Now, as you know, my plastic clip was broken. Typically, this would have some locking ears on it. We'll set that aside. And there it is, friend. Now let's prepare to install the brand new outside door handle. We have it on the bench. Let's start with the door lock cylinder. Now, looking along the back side, we're going to start with our door lock cylinder. We'll make sure we have it in the proper orientation. We're aligning it. Now we'll carefully pull out on that locking clip, just the same as we did before for the removal process, just enough that we can press this down into the fully seated position, and of course make sure that that locking clip is holding it in. Audible click from that. Double check the locking clip and make sure it's secure. As far as my door lock rod, to help this easily slide into place, I'm just using a small amount of silicone paste. Now I'm just going to slide it in. We'll press it as far as possible here, and we'll twist it into the proper positioning. This is how it should look. Let's get this over to the vehicle. As we bring this in towards the door, let's start with the rod first. We're just going to bring it down inside of the door. As we bring this down closer, we'll have to come in at an angle from along the top. We'll start pivoting this in, roll it into position. Now, once you have it pressed up against the door, we're making our way along the inboard side. With that aligned, I'm going to start in my hardware. Both pieces of hardware are started in. Now I'm going to make sure the handle is aligned properly as I continue on tightening each piece of hardware. Now that we have the door handle mounted, let's continue on with our door lock rod. That slides into that red connector portion. As you remember on my application, it is damaged. I'm going to make sure I hold it in place using a wire tie. Slide that into position there. Now in most cases, there's two locking tabs that would hold this in. As I mentioned, mine is damaged. And of course, we'll double check to make sure that rod is secured in place. Nice. Let's move along to the next rod. This leads all the way down towards our door latch. Now this rod does go into this yellow connector. When we go to do this, we don't want to lift up or down. You just want to rest it in and then lock it down. You can use some pliers to squeeze this in if necessary. Make sure that's secured as well. Now on the inside of the door, let's reinstall our rubber grommet in this area. There we are. Now one last quick inspection in this area and we can reinstall our vapor barrier. When we go to install our vapor barrier, let's make sure we have it in the same position as where we had removed it. As I bring this over, you can see that we have this. That will slide into this oval port. Now we can see where all that butyl tape was. We're going to make sure that we have this aligned. There's another port here. And then we're just going to press it all into the proper positioning. Make sure it's sealed all the way around. So now as we bring our door panel over, there's a couple things that we want to pay attention to. First of all, we have the area for our electrical connector. Let's start there. Line it up, start pressing it together. Now you're going to find it only goes in so far. We'll have to take hold of this lever, start swinging it over the rest of this. That's going to draw it in. And then make sure each one of the locking tabs are secured and this does not come loose. Now up along the top of the door panel, we have this metal area. That's going to have to go up and along the top of the door next to the window. As you start looking along the sides and bottom of the door panel, you have several securing tabs. Everything needs to fit together. We're starting up along the top. As we come in towards the door, we also have the door lock knob to contend with. That needs to go through its corresponding port, so we're starting there. Now at this point, I'm going to bring the door panel up. We'll set it into position along the top first, and then we'll roll the bottom into the proper positioning as well. Looking along the sides, we want to make sure that we are properly aligned, and then we can tap this into position. Now we're looking along the grab handle. We have our two mounting bolts, one for each port. Take that bolt, slide it into your 10mm socket. We'll bring it all the way into this port. Go ahead and start that in by hand. Next mounting bolt, same thing. And now let's make sure they're tight. It's time for the protective panel. We have several locking tabs on the inboard side. Just line it up, press it in. Along the inside door handle, we have our trim panel. We'll slide the handle through the port, bring it in, press it into position. Just a couple light taps there, make sure it's secured in place. Okay, so we finished our installation. Let's go ahead and shut the door and test the functionality. Perfect. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.